Next, Nicholas J. Fuentes. Again. Oh my God, there's been an update. First of all, let me just say this. This man, Aetius, has heard my impassioned plea, and he took my Patrick O'Neill image, and he has made this post that says, I've come for you, Fuentes, you will be my concubine. He says, pepper spray, and he says, that just makes me harder. 60,000 likes, 1 million views. As the unmoved mover, have put out the idea that the Nick J. Fuentes Patrick O'Neill concubinage can happen. And indeed, meme magic is slowly proliferating throughout the sphere, throughout the auras of the many. And it will become a reality. Indeed, we are approaching that reality. Immediately after announcing to the world, there was I might have covered this actually on the last stream, but when the super chat or whatever, not the super chat, the video of him saying "Your body, my choice, forever" went viral, and millions of people reacted to it. They played it in fucking schools. Schoolboys chanted about it. It became like table talk, like people saying, "I'm actually kind of scared that fucking young men are chanting "Your body, my choice" at my daughter." That's like terrifying. So after he did all that fucking damage to Trump on like day one of after getting elected, he was simply too tired to do a show, partly because he was super doxxed by a bunch of fucking Karens who are out for his blood. And Andrew Tate says, log in and perform Monkey, your body, our choice, which I find funny because he was trying to suck up to this Muslim rapist before, and now he's literally getting fucking... Like, if Ethan Ralph's friend tried to make this kind of joke at him, he would get really pissed off and upset. But Nick Fuentes is just going to have to take it like a bitch, I guess. These are the tweets that went viral. Tens of thousands of likes, millions and millions of views. People just openly sharing his address, proliferating throughout the Twitter sphere. And then a elderly Jewish woman, a 50-something-year-old Jewish woman named Marla Rose, went to Nick Fuentes' house and did something that nobody had ever done before. She confirmed that the address that many people suspected to be his because it was bought under his grandmother's name is actually his house. She caught a glimpse of him walking into the home and also got still images of him. This is him pepper spraying out the door. This is him walking to the home after... she spotted him. That's him kicking the camera into the house, I've discovered. And then that's the police showing up about the encounter. So there was some speculation about what had happened. A lot of people thought that was like her position on the floor looking up at him. People wanted to know if she had like accosted him walking to the home. He even has a little ADT sign in his yard. That's cute. So there were some open questions as to what happened with this woman's confrontation with him. But basically, the police did not want to press charges at the onset because she was at his house, basically, which is a point of contention that a lot of people sided with Nick on this. So I'm not going to impose my bloodlust too vocally. Even Tim Pool acknowledged the Kiwi Farms in this, our great coverage.
House. So you've got some photos here. Kiwi Farms post after a viral video declaring your body, my choice. Fuentes' home in Chicago has been turned into a your house, my choice zone. Progressives are attacking him. And here's an image of Fuentes
attacking him. Marla literally walked up to the door. Okay, I'll save that. He had to change the language of my tweet to suit his beanie needs, his beanie desires. Nick Fuentes put out this bewildering statement saying, I spritzed a minuscule amount of the pepper spray downward, not into her face, and then I left. I did not learn until much later that the spritz had done a lot worse than I had imagined it would, as well as learning that they are so-called manager and ass manager of that particular street. I had no idea of the contents of the pepper spray or that it was illegal for use in certain situations in the state of Illinois at all. And I had tried this stuff on myself days before in the upstairs bathroom. A 2-second spray onto my left wrist. Some of it got into the bathtub wall as well, like sampling a perfume or deodorant. It took me out damn well. I had to open the windows, turn on the bathroom fan, and aim the box into the bathroom to air out the place, and I wiped off the wall as well. And of course I washed my hands. It took 15 to 30 minutes to make it bearable there again. This is a Christian tweet. In case it wasn't obvious, this is from when Chris Chan sprayed the GameStop employee and said, "Don't call anyone." And then he published these two tweets. It's real. It's real. Of course, chat. It's real. Don't worry. If you want to believe, it is real. Okay, so then after this, Zoomers have started coming to his house and doing whippets in his yard. As user Thoughty says at Fly Swaggy Kid, thanks for having me over, bro, at Nick J. Fuentes. And then there's a picture of them together saying Hen and Jack were there too. They didn't do any Galaxy guests though. So after this event, and people learn that no, that's really where Nick Fuentes lives. It's become a destination, and the kids are coming over to do the Galaxy gas in the yard, as is customary. This is how you know where a Zoomer's been. You can trace him by the Galaxy gas spent whippets on the grass on the floor. Like Zoomers have been here, and now it's just a little tourist destination. This tweet got deleted, but it had over, I think, 30,000 likes before it got deleted. This is Brenda saying Nick Fuentes is now staying at his mom's house. It's ironic that he runs to a woman to protect him. And this is literally just a white pages result for his father, William Fuentes, and where he lives. And this got shared around and viewed millions of times before it was deleted by X. Meanwhile, my account, of course, has been banned for 5 months, in case you're keeping track. This is, I believe, it's either him or somebody they saw on Twitter, but this guy did a drive-by of Fuentes' house, and I've looked through this a bunch of times. I can't find it, what he's talking about. He says that the house in particular is the one left of this dumpster right here, and he says that you can see his security guard. So he hired private security again to make sure that nobody's doing whippets in his yard. So that's what's up with that. He's now hired private. According to this guy, he hired private security, and he's still there at the house. So the Catboy compound is under siege, under lockdown, and things are getting worse. This Groiper decided to send this woman a message. Barbie Agitprop got a lesson from Noah saying, "Dysgenic communist whore that bet you had a great relationship with your father. Your body, my choice." Laughing emoji. She promptly doxed him, sent these messages to his entire extended family and his job, and he sent her groveling messages saying, "I'm honestly really sorry. I don't know why I typed those comments out. That's not who I am as a person. None of this was true. It was just being needlessly callous." She says, "I'm still contemplating telling your girlfriend what a jackass you are." He says, "Please don't. We rarely ever talk politics. If she knew about this or how I felt or what I've said, she'd probably break up with me." And then he replies on an alt saying, "Please delete that post. You are actually going to ruin my life. I was just being edgy. I picked the worst insults I could think of at the time. I swear I didn't mean anything. I'm not sexist. I'm not transphobic. I'm not any sort of bigot. Multiple people have already messaged me, and I'm kind of freaking out. You'd really ruin some kid's life over meaningless messages on Twitter. I've already apologized to everyone. What more do you want from me? How am I supposed to learn from my mistakes?" And it's because he had his bio, had his university. Groiper with a girlfriend. I'm telling you, bro, he's able to like convince young men in particular that he has shit figured out. I guess he's because he's got that 70s Jerry curl bussy haircut or whatever the fuck. I don't know what kind of spell he has. By the way, all this shit reminded me of this article by a dumb tranny. Kiwi Farms went down. Now everything is Kiwi Farms. It's been more than a year since the famous hate forum went down, and the uppercase I internet is more hostile than ever to marginalized groups. Such KF is without its defenders. Per WAPO, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a nonprofit, has labeled the attempts to take down the site as censorship, saying that if the site in question were Reddit, Planned Parenthood, or even the EFF, the lowercase I internet would be up in arms. The site is not Reddit or Planned Parenthood or EFF. The site is Kiwi Farms, which exists solely for the purpose of killing trans people and also sometimes disabled people. Okay. That's how you know it's dead fucking serious here, chat. And of course, there's been an update to this just before the stream started. The actual video of the confrontation, because in this picture, you can see him kicking the phone down. She got the phone back from the cop, I believe. This is the full confrontation. You ready? Oh shit. I didn't preload it. I'm such an idiot sometimes, chat.
Hi. Oh my God! What are you doing?
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, he stole her phone. I didn't even notice he picked it up. Okay, so let's go by this play-by-play. I'm assuming that when she took this picture of him, he knew that he was being watched, especially because I imagine he's on high alert because he just pissed off every woman in the entire fucking world. So she starts to film herself as she goes up to press the doorbell. I imagine that expecting that he'll answer the door and she'll talk to him and be like, hey, you know, you're a real piece of shit for what you said about rape or whatever. And then he might throw a hissy fit and like, I can't believe you'd come here. That's like doxing. You're harassing me. Instead, as he sees her approach the door, he opens up and immediately, like, oh no, a femoid, starts spraying her. He starts pressing the trigger before his arm is even fully extended out, and he tries to get as close to her as possible. She hasn't even touched the door. She hasn't even rung the bell, but he's opened the door and immediately attacked her with this. And I'll get to my legal thoughts in a second. I know you guys love those.
Oh my God! What are you doing?
So she's really surprised because that's not usually how most people answer the door. It's kind of comical. Like, yeah, for sure. It's like silly how she responds to that. Here's my thought on that. She responds kind of like confused because obviously it's a really confusing thing to be attacked like that. But also, she said that the pepper spray was very weak. And my thoughts are that he's had that pepper spray probably for years. He probably keeps it in his purse, like at all times. Chemical gas has a lifespan of 2 to 4 years. So chances are the organic compound in it that is responsible for the stinging effect has become lessened over time because it's no longer it's not shelf stable. So it's probably expired. Then this is the really confusing part. He walks out of the house. I guess she's backed off because she's been sprayed with pepper spray. And then he just steals her phone and walks back inside his house and throws it on the ground. And then kicks it in. And I guess his thought is that he doesn't want people to see this video. This is the best part. This is my absolute favorite part of the entire video. This is a ASMR segment, okay? So close your eyes. I don't want you to watch this. I want you to listen. You ready? Use your ears. How many fucking locks are on that door? Is he like shaking with fear that he can't put the chain into the hole and slide it in? Or does he have like a comical number of bolts and locks on his front door, like a paranoid schizophrenic in a cartoon? Because it sounds like he's like deadbolting it over and over again. I just can't tell if he's like actually physically shaking and can't manipulate the 1 or 2 locks that he has, or if he's like actually bolting down the thing with 10 different messages. Let's take a listen again so you can inform. You can watch this time. You can see his hand movement as well. Oh, it is. It might just be the one, because I can kind of see his hand movement. Like, it feels like he's pulling the chain over and he can't get it in. It does feel like he's shaking or something. He can't fit it. He has to use 2 hands because he's, like, too nervous. Anyways, let's go back to the initial incident.
Hi.
So, if you don't know, Nick Fuentes lives in Chicago. He lives in Chicago 30 minutes from the nearest Department of Justice office. From where he lives, he can walk 6 minutes to a bus that parks a block away. He can take that bus 10 minutes to the metro line, and he can ride that metro line directly east to the city center and get off at a stop that is directly adjacent to the Department of Justice. He's technically outside of Chicago, but out of the city limits. So I don't know how the rules work in regards, because I know that in a lot of states they have special exemptions specifically for the big cities. So I don't know if living where he does counts as living in Chicago as far as the law goes. But almost always, when it comes to self-defense, just as a general rule of thumb, you never want to decrease the barriers between that increase confrontation. Like, if she did anything to stop him from closing the door, you could shoot her. Like, that's escalation. It's breaking and entering, even if the door is open. If she puts her foot in the door, if she puts her hand on the door to try and pry it open, that's breaking and entering. That's probably a felony, and you can probably get away with shooting her at that point. The issue is that he opens the door.
Hi.
He's safe inside his house.
Hi.
And he opens the door and he sprays her after she says hi to him in a kind of kindly voice. It's not like a threatening voice. So in terms of like morally in the right, like I don't really give a shit what your opinion is. Legally, it's a bit of a toss up. It really depends on the prosecutor. Because I think that he fucked up. Just rule of thumb, if you're ever in a self-defense situation, if you ever feel like someone's out to get you, never ever open the door or confront them. And I know that sounds bitch made, like, because there would be people that would say like, oh, he'd be bitch made if he didn't open the door and do something to chase her off. And it's like, well, maybe in like a tribal sense, like if he's dancing around a campfire and he has to like fight off younger men to like keep his harem of concubines or something, like 4,000 years ago before we had writing. In modern day in Illinois, in the suburbs of Chicago, you don't want to open your door and initiate a confrontation. But then again, I don't know. It feels like there's a case to be made that opening your door to pepper spray an old lady on your doorstep out of fear is more bitch made. But I will leave that up to you. I was always told to make sure they swing first as a rule. I mean, the rule is basically that you either have to be in fear for your safety or you have to have a reasonable suspicion that they have engaged in a felony in order to use lethal force or force that could cause great bodily harm. And I think that pepper spray is always considered a weapon for that purpose. So it's like, again, if she was trying to open the door or let herself in, that's always okay. But he had the option of just not answering the door. So from a legal perspective, it's like, I think he really fucked up. Now, will he be charged with anything? She wants to press charges, but I don't know. The cop didn't seem too sympathetic, but then again, he's Nick Fuentes. So, but that could go either way. It's like he's a federal asset. So it's like, I don't know if they'd actually want to charge him or not because he's valuable to the agency. I still get comments from groypers, by the way, that are like upset that I don't like Nick Fuentes, and it's like, I want to tell you guys something. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this before. I had a guy write me an email years ago. He had just gotten out of jail. Not out of jail, out of prison. He was a groyper, and he was at Nick Fuentes' rally on January 6th. And he had just been convicted. He was now a registered felon. He had served, I think it was either 6 months or a full year in prison for January 6th related charges. And his life was ruined. His family was from the Arlington region. They were well off. And he had kind of been ostracized from his entire family. And he couldn't get a job anymore because he was a felon. And he was despondent over his life because being a felon's a big deal. You can't own guns, you can't vote, it follows you around, it impacts every single facet of your life, you can't travel. It's not like he doesn't even have the option to leave the U.S. and go hide in Argentina because they don't want a felon. And he was despondent. And all he wrote me was asking for advice on how because at the time I had been talking about how I believed happiness was a choice. And he was like, how do you choose to be happy even though you're kind of like this weirdo without much money living in the middle of nowhere by yourself? And it took me like 2 weeks to reply to this guy. I did a thing where I left his email in my inbox and I just like cleared everything else out and just sat there for literally weeks. And eventually I replied, and he confirmed that he got it because he said he didn't expect to reply. And then, kind of recently, not too recently, I got another email from him saying that he had moved out of the state. He was kind of in like a super Republican area now. He had moved very far away from his entire family, got a job doing like IT shit at like a low level. And all the guys there were like old boomers that respected him being a convicted felon for January 6th. He said he had gotten a girlfriend. Oh, his girlfriend left him back home because he went to jail and was a January 6th, Trumper, felon, white nationalist, or whatever the fuck. He got a new girlfriend. And I think everything was working out for him, and he said he thanked me, which I was very gratified to hear. And that's why I absolutely fucking hate Nick Fuentes, because in his audience, in his crowd of people, if you look at the videos of him walking around with a megaphone telling people to go into the Capitol building, they did. And they went to jail. They became felons. They went to prison for 6 months. I think some of them are still in jail, depending on what they did. Because a lot of those people got very heavy sentences for multiple years. And the only person of that crowd of hundreds of people, because the federal government was so bloodthirsty after January 6th because they had to show that there is no safety in numbers. You can show up in the thousands. You can coordinate an attack on the federal government in the thousands, and they will systematically, for years after the fact, hunt you down, post pictures on social media, encourage people to rat out their own families. They'll find you. They'll drag you to D.C. in handcuffs. They'll extradite you from whatever fucking corner of the country you're in. They'll put you on charge. They'll give you a felony. They'll put you in jail for 6 months. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're at. If you did something to displease the federal government, they're going to come after you. And they went after everybody. And of all the people who were there, of all the people who incited a riot or whatever the fucking charge they got, the one that walked away from it was the guy with the megaphone telling people, his own followers, to go into the Capitol building. That was the guy who caught no charges and is free to walk around. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. He flipped, he turned, and he takes marching orders from the government now. And since then, even I remember when Nick was a younger performer, and he was, because he's 26 now, he started like his Trump stuff like when he was 17. If you compare pre-2020 Nick Fuentes to post-2020 Nick Fuentes, his demeanor is completely different. Because back in the day, he was a very happy-go-lucky kind of guy. He was always laughing at shit. He always had like this like unaffable demeanor and stuff, and it was endearing. Admittedly, I didn't like a lot about him, but I still understood his appeal. After 2020, he's fucking dour. He's completely like self-enrichment driven. He ran with fucking Kanye West, a black guy. He bumps elbows with the fucking rapist Tate brothers. He had that Ali Akbar pedophile around and knew that he was a pedophile and knew he was into young white boys and still let him around people like Smiley and was more pissed at Smiley for getting molested than he was at Ali Akbar for trying to get sending him dick pics and getting dick pics from him and shit. And it's like, it's so fucking obvious that this is a guy who hates his fucking life, is a miserable cunt, is fucking possessed by the balls by the DOJ. Probably can't leave where he's at. Probably he's stuck in Chicago. That's where they have him. And he would leave and do something more meaningful with his life and his money, but he's stuck because they won't let him go because he's an asset. And it frustrates me to no end to see him successful in his operations against populist movements in the U.S. And it makes me extremely sad to see more young people, more young boys, jump on his movement and repeat his lines, even though it's going to fuck up his life, just like that one kid. That he took advice from Nick Fuentes, and now he's going to lose, a bunch of support and a lot of things that he had going for him because he trusted Nick Fuentes. And I feel kind of powerless to stop that, to like help people who I know are going to get fucked over by trusting this federal fucking asset, this traitor who has committed treason against his own people, his own fucking supporter base. Never mind his movements or his race or his country or whatever. He's committed the worst thing you could possibly fucking do. He sold out his own people, the people that still fucking listen to him and have listened to him for years. And it disgusts me, and it really frustrates me how like incapable I am of remedying the situation in any way, shape, or form. I have a plan, though. I have a plan. I've been thinking about it. I have a plan, but I can't say what. I don't mean to cock tease. There's something I know I can do that will be a lot of fun, but it has to wait. Trump has to get into office first. It's on my fucking to-do list. I wrote it down. I promise. I got a little to-do list for when Trump gets into office. I have a plan. The Empire is going to strike back, chat. The Empire is going to strike back. I have a really, really funny idea.
Thank you for watching this clip. This is Perspicacity. Remember to like and subscribe.